Good evening. Today I have Duncan, the Bond villain, with his beautiful cat Millie. Good evening, Dunks. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, hi. My name's Duncan Brockwell. I'm an author with Bloodhound Books and Spellbound Books as well. I've had 5 novels, 3 crime thrillers and 4 crime thrillers and 1 psychological thriller out with Bloodhound. And I've now got Oakwood Falls out with Spellbound, the first of 2 with Spellbound. And Hellingly's coming out in October. So yeah, it's good to see you again, Donna.
Good to see you as well, especially on the release of one of my favourite, probably my favourite of your books.
Oh, thank you.
Which I was lucky enough to read like a year ago, I think.
Yeah, it's got to be about that because I wrote it during lockdown last year. So yeah, it would have been sort of around March, April time. So probably over a year now, actually. And I was giving you instalments, wasn't I? As I went along.
Yeah, and you gave it to me, and it wasn't finished. So what? You can't leave it there. Always mean.
I know, I'm such a meanie. I'm going to do it to you again soon with my next romance.
That's fine. I can handle it. That's why I got my revenge when I sent you my book. I thought I'd leave it on the cliffhanger just to annoy you and see how it feels.
It's horrible. Don't do it.
Well, you do it. I was only getting my revenge. You can see what it's like. It's my only time I can ever.
Fair comment. Well made.
Thank you very much. I have them occasionally. So would you like to tell everyone what Oakwood Falls is about? Briefly.
Oakwood Falls is it's sort of like a coming of age fantasy about Carrie and Ashley Oakwood. So the first scene is basically Carrie with her husband Alan being followed by a group of Alan's armed robber friends, and they're after him. And he's driving Carrie through near Kilda Forest in Northamptonshire, Northumbria, I think, Northumbria. And he's trying to get away from them. She's having contractions. She's heavily pregnant, having contractions. So she's literally about to drop. And then Alan stops the car in Kilda Forest, and he flees with Carrie and goes into the forest. And then basically Carrie can't go any further, and he's about to sort of break her neck and then make a run for it. And then basically the trees come alive and they grab Alan and do away with him. And then Mother Nature makes herself known. She appears as a voice in Carrie's head, telling her that everything's going to be all right. And the trees, the roots from the trees come up and help to give birth to Ashley Oakwood. And then Mother Nature says that Ashley's going to be taken below into the earth. And if Carrie wants, she can either leave now or go with Ashley. So she decides to go with Ashley, and then she's taken into the earth with her daughter, her newborn daughter. And then it follows Ashley and Carrie through from the age of about 5 is the first you see Ashley, and she's this sweet little kid, and she's really curious about humans. And then she grows up, and then the main story is really when she's about 19, 20. And that's when she turns nasty through various things that go on through the book. But it's all about the environment, Mother Nature, humans versus nature, basically, about how we're destroying the planet. So it's got quite a strong environmental message within it. But I wanted it to be quite blood and gutsy, which it is. So I've made it really quite a violent piece of work. Well, she's nestling into my armpit here. So yeah, she's and Mother Nature's quite a nasty character as well. But it's how I imagine she would be, to be honest, because you can see how she treats some people in reality. So with all the natural disasters you get and stuff like that. she's kind of putting me off actually. Anyway, so yeah, that's basically Oakwood Falls. I hope everyone enjoys it when they read it. We've been having some really good feedback so far, so the reviews have been really good. So yeah.
I have noticed. So look. Not a question I usually ask, but where on earth did you get the idea to write that?
Well, I had the first scene, the scene where the trees come alive and they kill Alan and save Carrie, and then help her to give birth to Ashley. I had that scene in my head for a while, and I wanted to do something with it. So the story is actually quite fluid, and it came as I wrote it. But I had the very first scene, and I had how it was going to end, and putting them together. That was the fun part. So going from the A to B was the middle bit was the fun part. But I had some very definite ideas what I wanted to include in it. So there's quite a big section where the forest is under attack from construction, and I wanted that in there because I wanted the construction people to meet quite grisly ends, which they do. So, and then I used a lot of nature in it as well. So hornets are featured quite strongly in it. Ants are featured strongly, so ants come up and eating people and stuff like that. So there's quite a lot of quite brutal stuff that actually happens in nature. I've included that in there as well. So yeah, the idea, I actually saw a picture, one similar to the one that you showed me, of a tree woman, and I like that idea. So I saw that photo and I was like, well, I could actually use that in this. So it came really from a picture. And a lot of the times my ideas actually come from either pictures or songs. And for this one, it was really from a picture and from just an idea of someone getting taken into the earth, sort of sucked into the earth and becoming one with it. So yeah, that's where the idea came from.
And is the environment something that you really care about? Is that you're passionate about saving?
I think most people do, to be fair. But yeah, I do. Bex is especially, and she's rubbed off on me now, I think. So we're quite heavily into sort of recycling everything we can and things like that. We've got a very low carbon footprint anyway. We know that because we don't have a car and we really don't eat much meat and stuff like that. So we're quite a low carbon family anyway. But yeah, I do care about the environment, and I think the vast majority of people do, to be fair.
Well, you'd hope so, wouldn't you? But I'm never sure.
Yeah.
And where did you get the idea for like the names? Because obviously, if you're writing fantasy, then you can make anything up. So, how did you decide with the Reclaimed and the Feralings, which are really cool names?
Well, the Feralings is quite simple because they're feral. They're basically like werewolves, essentially. They're just wolves with people's faces, white fur, white eyes. And then I tried to come up with a name, and it was just feral. And then I thought, put a ling on the end, Feraling. There you go. So that was actually quite an easy one. The Reclaimed, I just thought that mothers claiming them back, claiming these humans back and taking them as their own. And so I just thought, well, she's reclaiming them. There you go, they're reclaimed. And that's it. So that's where those ideas came from. I think they're quite self-explanatory, aren't they?
Yeah, they are when you read it.
But the Reclaimed is just the definite. So yeah.
yeah, they do.
I chose Ashley specifically and Oakwood because they're both trees, ash and oak. So that was quite a simple one.
All sorts of little clever things in there then.
Yeah. Oh, she's staring at you.
Yeah, she's so pretty.
She's actually staring at your picture.
Oh, you should look so happy. And this is one of the earliest books you wrote, isn't it? So, how happy are you to finally see it out in the world?
Oh, it's brilliant. I love seeing it out there. It's great. This was Oakwood Falls was the easiest book I've ever written, and also the fastest one as well, because I wrote this in 28 days, the first draft. I wouldn't have done it that quick had I not been on furlough. So that obviously helped. But I got so into it, and I've just wanted to get out onto the screen that quickly. But I haven't done that since. I haven't written anything that far since. But yeah, it's great. I really love this book, and I've got another 2 in my head, all mapped out, which are going to be The Rise of the Weevils, will be the second one, and the third one will be called The Last Feruling. I won't say who the last Feruling will be, but I think most readers will know who it's going to be.
And how did your contract with Spellbound come about?
Oh, I sent off Open Falls and Helen at the same time, and they both came back with a positive. So yeah, I was really chuffed about that, and it came back on my birthday. So that was a nice little birthday treat to say we'd like to sign you on my birthday. So I was very chuffed about that.
And that was the day that Mr. Invisible was out as well, wasn't it? So that was quite a birthday.
Yeah, my psychological thriller. Yeah, so that was a really, really good birthday and publication day to get that on top. So yeah, really pleased.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Just need to get readers. Just need to get people reading it now.
Well, hopefully, with the blog tour and the reviews that are coming in, it will encourage people.
I'm hoping so, yeah.
To give it a go.
It'll be a slow start, but hopefully we'll get there.
I mean, obviously, I love it, and I've made no secret of that. But yeah, for people that think it's fantasy and stuff, it's sort of the second half is very brutal. So yeah, it's definitely worth trying.
I think the second half is quite. Oh, she's off. There we go. Right. I think the second half is quite Marvel-esque, actually, where you've got the 3 groups. You've got humans versus the Reclaimed versus the Feruling, effectively. And the way I wrote the big war between them, I thought that was quite sort of Marvel-esque. So that's why I'm quite into my Marvel movies, and so I thought that was quite the way I wrote it and stuff was quite Marvel-esque. Because you've got a lot of superpowers going on within the Reclaimed and the Feruling, a lot of superpowers going off and people getting killed in crossfire, basically. So yeah. And I've made good use of a swordfish as well. That was a bit crazy.
You've made quite good use of some of the animals, the way that they... Yeah.
The Weevils are going to come into the second one quite heavily, and they're going to be nasty. Do you know what a Weevil is?
I've got a rough idea.
It's a root weevil.
Okay.
Roots are quite involved in the novel as well, because obviously that's like their highway when they're in the earth. That's how they navigate their way through the tree roots, and they can sort of turn off and use it as junctions and stuff like that. So I thought that would be like a little subterranean highway going on with the Feruling and the Reclaim using that to get about. So with the second book, I'm going to include root weevils in it as well. So they obviously eat up the roots and effectively kill the trees. So it's going to be a big military operation in the second one, with the humans trying to stop the Reclaimed and the Feruling by stopping the highway, bringing in root weevils. But they're not going to be microscopic little things. They're going to be armor plated, big monstery type things, because one of the main characters is going to be forced to make a really big one. It's the Queen, and obviously it's going to go off in the second one. It's going to go a bit mental.
Well, stop writing WW things then and get right in, because I want to read it. I've been waiting for ages.
Well, I'm writing a romance at the moment.
I've read a romance. Now I need to read something,
Yes, man.
Look at authors, honestly. Just do what you want.
Well,
so
kind
demanding.
of. We do kind of do what we want, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
You can't write to rote.
It's fine.
I
I
guess
can
some
wait.
people could, but
No, well, maybe I doubt it though. Or they wouldn't enjoy it if they did. I wouldn't have thought.
what's that? Writing to order?
Yeah.
No, I couldn't
Just,
do that.
no.
You got to write. You've got to write what you want to write. You can't write what you think people should write, or what people would want to read. You can't. You can't do it that way. I don't think, anyway.
No, absolutely. So tell us a little bit about your new romance.
Oh, right. Okay. So it's a series. I've written one so far, which is off at the publishers at the moment, called Like Strawberry Wine. So I've used the song Strawberry Wine by Dina Carter as inspiration behind it. And I came up with the storyline. So the character in the song spent a long summer with a boy. I don't know if you know the song at all, if you've heard it. Anyway, she had a summer romance, and it fizzled out at the end. And then, so I've used the song. The main character, one of the main characters, Abby. That's basically her history. Is that she went to her granddad's farm when she was 17, and she met a bloke called Scott there. And they had a whirlwind summer romance, but he had to leave to go to college at the end in September. And then he disappeared. So she kept going back year after year to her grandpa's farm, but he never came back. And then it starts with Abby taking on a promotion as a partner at her PR firm. And then she goes on vacation back to her grandpa's farm, which is now a vineyard. And then her twin sister is actually running the vineyard. So she goes to visit her sister with her daughter. And she finds out that Scott's actually working on the vineyard now. And so like, oh, so she's got her old flame there. So that starts off that part of the story. And then Elise, the daughter, she ends up meeting a guy called Mike, who's a mechanic and also a racing driver as well, like a not professional, an unprofessional race driver around this track in the town of Ridgemont. And she meets him, and he's got a secret, the dream of opening a bakery. He's even found the place he wants to open in Ridgemont. And she tastes his food, and then she's like, oh, you've got to do it. So she's there helping him to become a baker, and Abby's there getting together with Scott, and then things start heating up between those two. And the two stories all coincide and mix together, but they sort of really jam at the end. And yeah, it's a nice happy ending for everyone. And that's the first part of a series called the Ridgemont, Ohio romances. And I'm now writing the second one, which is called That's the Good Stuff, which is named after the song The Good Stuff.
Yeah, I was just literally just going to ask. That's fine, read my mind.
So yeah, but songs are quite heavily in the writing as well. So yeah, I'm really enjoying writing these. I actually enjoy writing romance more than anything else. I'm a lot happier.
I think will surprise people considering some of the books you've released so far, which are quite violent.
Yeah, but it takes a lot to write that. Whereas with romance, it's all happy and nice, and not always. You know, the build-up can be quite dramatic and stuff. But you know, you're writing nice people that do nice things, and you know, I just prefer that at the moment. So I'm quite into writing romances now.
If you were to
Don't worry, I will still write the April Fool's.
I know. Well. I'll just keep going on and on it to you till you get sick of me.
Yeah, just hound me into it.
Yeah, I have no problem doing that, which I'm pretty sure you know.
Yeah, I know.
Good. That's fine. If you were to be a character in any of your own books, what book would you choose and what character would you be?
I'd probably be, it'd be like Strawberry Wine, it would probably be Scott.
Good choice.
Because he's got a lot of baggage, but he has a really happy ending. and it just gets better and better. So through the subsequent books, things just get better and better between Abby and Scott. So I'm not going to put myself in Hellingly, am I, or Open Falls, and
Well, when I ask this question and people have only written crime books, generally they reply, and I'm like, why? The chances of you dying are pretty high. Why would you go into your own books? I don't understand.
Yeah, I'm not going to put myself in Hellingly because that would just be a hell place to go. I would never want to go there.
No, I can't wait for that to come out as well.
I know, I'm looking forward to that one.
We can talk about it again. When is that? At
So
the end of
I wanted to hear what people think of that. What's that?
Is that the end of October? Halloween? Roughly, isn't it?
Yeah, it's for Halloween. It's in October at some point. I'm not exactly sure of the date yet. The date it's a TBC on that one. So.
Oh, fair enough. Well, not far away now, actually, which is weird.
Yeah, it's July, so August, September. Yeah, so it's only a few months, isn't it? It's quite scary when you think that. And then after October, it's due into Christmas. Sort of build up.
Even the C word is banned.
What's the word? Christmas.
Christmas. Don't even.
Christmas.
You really go off people,
I'm surprised it's taking you this long.
Well, you still put up with me, it seems fair.
Yeah.
It's fine. I'm used to being picked on now.
Aww.
Keep getting ganged up on by loads of men on Facebook. It's fine.
You love it.
A little bit, yeah. It's quite funny. I like it when people figure me out and then call me out on it. Kind of. Who's been your favourite character to write so far? I've seen you put it on Facebook and your answer changes quite frequently, so I'm interested what your answer today will be.
I've always got a favourite character to write in every book, but my favourite character of all the ones I've written is probably going to be Cara for Bird of Prey and Ashley Oakwood. So out of those two, because they're both just completely psychotic, and they were fun. I'd probably have more fun with Cara actually. So I think Cara was my favourite character of all. And it's always women, because women are my favourite to write anyway. I prefer writing women to men. So yeah, it's got to be Cara, I think. I should say Naj really, but I can't because she's too good, and I just prefer writing the nastier side. So yeah, it's definitely got. I think it's Cara. By nose, otherwise it will be Ashley.
Yeah, she's one of my favourite characters to read. But I'm not sure what that says about you, Cara. And that's still such a wicked book anyway. But yeah, and obviously, Oakwood. So yeah, tough call. But yeah,
I think Cara's got it for just how evil she is. But then you actually understand by the end of the book why she's so evil and what's happened to her and stuff like that. So I made sure when I wrote that the readers know, or I wanted the readers to kind of sympathise with her a little bit, not too much, but a little bit, because she went through some seriously nasty stuff in that book. So you can kind of understand how she got that warped.
Yeah. What's your most overused word or phrase that either your editor tells you off for or you have to edit out yourself?
Putting winking in books. I got called up on it with like Strawberry Wine. And I think I had people winking in it about 58 times. Without realising it, without even seeing it. Because when you're writing, you can't see the wood for the trees, basically. That's why you don't really edit your own stuff. You get other people to edit it, because what you think sounds great actually doesn't. But yeah, winking was one of them. And also my editor picked me up for, what was it? Hearts racing hearts and winking. So I went back and I deleted all winks But now in every book, I only ever really include probably about 2, maybe 3 instances where someone's heart was racing. So yeah, I've been picked up on that. There's probably going to be others as well. I've noticed I use the word walked a lot and turned a lot as well. So I've got to go back and check for those words as well. But they're obviously words that you need to use to describe what people are doing.
Yeah.
What I'm doing now, different to how I've written before, is I'm trying to be a lot more show and less tell. So instead of the narrator telling the reader what's going on, I'm doing it through dialogue and through action, which is what you're supposed to do basically. So, you know, when you're talking about how people are their thoughts and feelings, stop doing that so much and have it actually come out in dialogue or through what they're actually doing. So I'm trying to do a lot more of that. So I think you'll find that, like Strawberry Wine and all of my latest stuff are a lot more show, less tell. At least I hope that's the case anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously I've read everything I think that you've written.
Well,
And
with like Strawberry Wine, I know for a fact that you don't really get much information at all from the narrator. Narration is only there for telling people what the characters are doing. You know, directing the characters. There's no real voice in the narrator as such. So I've all made it the voice of the characters, which I think is much better. So whenever you find out information about people, it's through people talking about them or them talking themselves. So I think that's the way I'm going to do it from now on.
Yeah, I would agree. And yeah, I guess it does. I mean, it does make for it's easier to read, I think.
Yeah, and it does make the books. It does make the books dialogue heavy, but I don't really mind that because I just think it's easier to read dialogue than it is to read reams and reams and reams of narration. Just my opinion.
Yeah, no, fair enough. You don't have to worry so much about spelling and sayings and things like they're in dialogue, do you?
Yeah.
You can say what you want. Is there any book in history that you would like to have been a character in, not your own?
Will I be a character in any book that I've written or that I've read?
Yeah.
Well, this is one of my favourite books of all time, but one of my favourite characters of all time was also Michael Corleone, Godfather. I'd love to be here. I think he's just really cool in those books and in the film. Obviously Al Pacino's character, and then he goes off to Sicily and gets married there, and then comes back and has to help the family out. I just love that book so much, and his character's just wicked. So yeah, I'd be Michael Corleone basically.
Awesome. See, 1 minute you're talking about love stories, and then you're talking about, you know, sadistic killers. You're a very complex man, Mr. Brockwell.
I'm as eclectic with writing as I am with what I watch. So I can go from watching. I watched Saw last night.
Oh, one of my favourite.
The original Saw, the first one. And tonight I'm going to be watching a Hallmark romance movie. So yeah, so I go from that extent to that extent, basically. And that's what I do with my writing as well. So it'll be, you know, one book will be a romance, another one will be a really nasty horror, for example. And that's just the way it is.
Yeah, fair enough.
But change things up. But it does make it harder to send that or try and get publishers, because obviously if you're writing very, very different stuff, they won't necessarily want a romance if they're taking on your horror stuff. And then you've got to like split your names up, so it's now Katie Simpkins and Duncan Brockwell, and then having the two can be quite problematic. So we shall see. Yeah.
And would you well, firstly, the ending to Saw is one of the best endings of a film ever, right?
Love it. when Tobin Bell just gets up and he takes the thing off, you know, the blood covered head thing, and then that's mental. Because I remember because I watched it last night and I was like, you know, that's Tobin Bell on the floor because you can see his face, but when you watch it for the first time, you don't know who that is. You just think it's a dead body, and then boom, to suddenly get up like that. It's amazing. Because you always think you think that the porter guy was the bad guy because he's obviously the one with the gun chasing big round. Then you actually realise no, he's another pawn who's in the game as well, and it's like oh. So yeah, it's really good. I'm actually going to go through all the Saw films now because they've got another one called Spiral. It's literally just out.
Okay. With
Chris Rock, I think, and I'm going to watch that after that as well because it's all part of that same world. It's not Saw, but it's included in that Saw world. So I'm going to see what that Spiral's like when it comes on Sky Movies. So yeah, you can go for all the Saws again.
Yeah, I said that I'd go back on John's podcast if he'd have me and talk about the Saw films, because they're just genius anyway. I mean,
totally.
The idea
of nuts.
Yeah, the idea of getting other people to kill and the games and stuff, and it's just
each movie, the premise behind it is as clever as the previous one.
Yeah, it just works. And then the ending of the first one is just, it's very clever because of everything that goes on, the one thing that you assume is a dead body is a dead body, and why would you not, and then for it not to be as
But a friend of mine went to see Saw 3 at the cinema with his girlfriend, and they had to leave the cinema. The third one because it was that horrific.
I think the only time they've affected me is when there was a pig something or other, and I was like, but apart from that, the horror and stuff and cutting people open is fine, but the pig thing, I can't remember. Yeah, they have I don't know if it's pig guts or dead pigs in a. I don't know.
I'll let you know when I find it. I'm gonna go back through again. So yeah.
Yeah, you'll know when you get there. But even just watching it.
For me, another series for me that I loved was the Final Destination movies. Because I just think that's so clever to have death just as things happening. But obviously there is a force making it happen, but all these bad things happening to people, after they've just saved themselves from death, and then it follows them around until it gets them. I think that idea is great.
Yeah, it is. That's one of those ideas you wish you'd have had.
Definitely. I think it's wicked.
Yeah, it's funny. I see memes on Facebook where there's the lorries with the logs and stuff on them, and says anyone that's watched Final Destination scared of these now, and it's like
yeah, too right. Yeah, because that was a mental scene, that crash. So many people died in it, and it's like they're all supposed to die in that. And I just think it's just such an insanely clever idea. But yeah, right, that's one of those ideas you wish you'd thought of.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely, but sadly not. And sadly, someone else is very rich because of it, no doubt.
Yeah, because people always think of death as the character with the hood and the scythe and all that, and then you actually think, no, it's just a force making these bad things happen, like a domino alley effect kind of thing. So yeah.
Would you ever consider going back to writing a series, like a police procedural series or something like that?
I've had an idea for doing a Hampshire-based murder one, but it's going to be based on songs again. I've had this idea basically, and I'm really liking it actually. The more I think about it, the more I like it. Which is 2 really cool songs: "The Piano Man," I think it's Billy Joel, and "Lying Eyes" by the Eagles. I'm going to say the Eagles. I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Right, and it's going to be called "The Piano Man with Lying Eyes." Clever title, huh? Right. Okay. So basically, it's going to be start off with the murder of the couple, which is the piano man and the woman from Lying Eyes, who's married a rich guy, and she goes off and has a fling with the boyfriend. You know the song anyway. So her and the piano man are found dead in a flat, obviously murdered, butchered, and it's about the police coming in to try and find who did it and investigate the case. And then when they go about looking for, interviewing people and their friends, and it's all characters from the songs. So in The Piano Man, you've got the barman behind the bar. You've got the waitress, and they're all mentioned in the song. And you've got a guy drinking gin, making love to his gin, tonic and gin. And then you've got in Lying Eyes, you've got the husband. He could have had her killed. You've got all these people that could be, suspects. And I just really like this idea because it's quite cool.
That's really cool, actually. Yeah, I like that.
Because people will know the songs and they'll be like, "Oh, that's that guy's from the song." It's quite cool. And I know who's done it and why already. So I know in my head who's done it, and it's just a matter of throwing enough red herrings to stop people from guessing who it is, and then bang, you hit him with it. So yeah, I'm thinking about writing that, and that being part one, or an investigation. Then it will go on, and the police will be the same police throughout. Midsummer Murders, but song style.
Basically, what you need is more time, I think, isn't it? Instead of working to get all these ideas down, because you have the second follow-up to Oakwood and the third, and then I'm sure you've asked us about 3 ideas that sounded awesome, and now you've got that. So yeah, if you could just crack on and get writing, that would be fab.
Yeah, all right. I'll go now. See you later.
You remember I know where you live, right?
Yeah. You'll talk.
Don't dare me, man. Don't dare me. I don't mind driving. Have you remembered an embarrassing story since the last time we spoke? I haven't forgotten.
Not really.
I will keep asking.
Each interview.
Yeah, do right. I don't forget. I forget nothing.
I'll tell you what, next interview I will have one for you, okay?
You must have done something stupid when you were drunk and young, because all guys do.
No, nothing springs to mind. I knew you were going to ask this.
Because you won't answer it until you answer it, and then I'll never ask you again.
At the next interview, I'll tell you. How's that?
Okay. I'll keep you to that, and I've got it on record.
Oh, damn.
Who would you least like to be stuck in a lift with?
Really?
Yep.
Do you know what? This sounds like an interview question.
You're
Right,
having an interview.
When I was going through my interview stage before I got the job at Elite Dental, I lost my job at the in Burgess Hill. We got made redundant because the company closed, and I ended up going for an awful lot of jobs in like Brighton and the sort of this area. And I can remember one interview I had. I was basically in a room with, I don't know, 3 people, 2 people writing stuff down, the main guy sort of saying it. And he goes, "Okay, so you're a flavour of ice cream. What flavour are you and why?" That was an actual question at an interview. And I mean, the answer I gave, I thought was pretty good off the cuff, which is I was ginger ice cream because I'm fiery or something along those lines. And then the woman actually laughed, and she was like, "Ginger ice cream? That's silly. That doesn't exist." It does exist. It's in the bloody ice cream parlour down the road. So anyway, so that was, yeah. Who'd I least like to be in an elevator with?
A lift. We're not in America, man.
Probably someone flatulent.
That's a good answer.
Because that'd be awful, especially stuck in one as well. Someone who's just farting all the time. I was going to say something like, I don't know, Saddam Hussein or something, but that's crap. So no, definitely someone flatulent.
I like that. I need to keep you on your toes. I've interviewed you a few times and we're friends, so I need to throw questions at you that you're not expecting. And you weren't expecting that one, were you?
I had another one in the interview as well, which was, right, you're looking for a job. I'm your potential boss, and we're about to step on the lift. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to tell me why you should have the job. And then you're supposed to just rattle off in 30 seconds, blah, blah. I was awful at doing that because it just completely throws you. They just throw these questions in there just to bamboozle you. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, I'd hope that you know about books and stuff at least. So at least if I throw them questions at you. I read some questions, and one of them was, would you be a better writer if you were wearing glittery socks?
Say that again?
Would you be a better writer if you were wearing glittery socks?
No. I'd be staring at my socks all the time, so I don't think I would.
Distracted
it'll
by
put me
shiny things.
It will put me off.
Oh, this is like, what the fuck? That's so random. I think I was looking for different stuff to ask Mark Billingham because he's been asked everything, I would have thought. But I didn't ask him, so I chickened out because it's too weird.
What's too weird?
Asking Mark Billingham if he would write better if he was wearing glittery socks.
Bad connection here.
Check him.
Donna?
I'm still here.
Donna?
You've frozen. Oh, there you are.
Did I go then? Or because you went here, you just froze?
Yeah, my internet connection's unstable as well. Wonderful. Well, I think I've tortured you enough.
Oh, and again. Is that it?
Yeah. If you're still there, then just remind people where they can buy your book. I'm still here. I hate the internet.
You there?
Yeah.
Right, shall we wrap it up?
Yep. Just remind people where they can buy Oakwood Falls, and I will bully them into buying it.
On Amazon. Please buy it on Amazon. Oakwood Falls. Yeah. Let me know what you think. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you.